Hi friends, welcome back. Today we have Daren here with us. Good to have you, Daren.
Thank you for having me back and welcome back to YouTube, Boon.
Thank you so much. So Daren, I just want to have a conversations and some chit chat on your trip in the US. So I saw some of your videos that you are trying out the FSD, trying out the Tesla, right? You rented a car, Model Y, a white color Model Y. So how's your experience like driving the cars in US?
It's really cool. I rented a car in the US using an app called Turo, T-U-R-O. It's basically an Airbnb for cars. I remember my pickup time was 10 a.m. on a Friday. So I went to Santa Monica, the owner was there, and I was there a little bit earlier, there was a cafe. So he came out of the car with his Starbucks at around 9:50 a.m. I said, "Oh, hi, you must be Daren." I said, yeah, I am. I'm renting your car. And it's like, "Oh, my Tesla Model Y is 1 week old, fresh off Fremont factory."
Oh.
I wanted to tell him, so was my driver's license, but I didn't.
Yeah.
So the car is fine, thankfully. Now, driving in the US, it's a big driving culture. Cars are must-have in most of the US. It's not a nice to have like Singapore.
Yeah.
So that's something that I think we really appreciate as we travel around the world. If you grew up in Singapore, we think, oh, cars are luxury. It is not a luxury for the vast majority of the human population. It's an essential need to get to work, to pick up your kids.
Yeah.
Driving the Model Y, it was my first time driving on the left-hand side of the street. For here, us in Singapore, Commonwealth countries, most of us, we drive on the right-hand side. So driving on the left-hand side, getting in the car, and in the US, it's quite unique. You can turn right on the red in most streets. Yeah, so I was trying to process all of that. So it was very interesting, very eye-opening as a new driver and driving on the other side of the street. As I got to the freeways, the highways that they call it in the US, I actually turned on autopilot. So in a Tesla, or you turn down the right stop 2 times, and autopilot's engaged. So 90% of my drive was done on autopilot. It almost felt like another person, like a co-pilot was driving for me. And that was my first time experiencing it alone in the car for so long. I drove like almost 500 miles.
So long.
Between Los Angeles to Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara is another city in the northwest of Los Angeles. So that was about 250 miles one way, 250 miles coming back. So I drove there during the daytime, I drove back during the evening. So I got to see a whole range of different environments. It wasn't just smooth sailing traffic, it was also congestion. I got to see firsthand this autopilot and not even full self-driving, which is free, available on all Teslas, just navigating itself so confidently on the American roads.
This entire journey took a couple of hours and you're just using the autopilots, right? Not other type of autonomous drivings, right?
Yep.
And the reason why you can't test out the FSD, is it because of the car or because there's some limitation with regards to your license and so on?
The car that I got, it doesn't have full self-driving.
Okay.
Because for the owner, he had full self-driving in many of his older Teslas. It's a fleet of Teslas that he rents out on Turo. But now, full self-driving costs $15,000 US. It's a lot. And so it's a bit of a leap. Tesla has been increasing the price of full self-driving as its capabilities improve.
So can the person actually like upgrade his car? So it's because it is a software, right? They have all the necessary hardware.
Yes.
So he just need to pay and he can get the FSD.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's interesting. So have you got a chance to try out the others? Because I know that you visiting a couple of friends and then I know you have tried even the Tesla Model S plate, right? So just want to know, have you tried other FSD or FSD beta?
Yes, I've been in the US 2 times this year, April and also October. Now for everyone else, there's actually 3 types of like driving assistance or autonomous driving as we call it. There's autopilot, which is base. It's basic. All Teslas have it. So think of it like traffic aware cruise control, auto steer. Then they've got full self-driving, the public full self-driving that anyone who buys full self-driving has. That one would try to navigate even in city streets. Then you've got full self-driving beta. That is point-to-point driving by design. It's a work in progress, that's why it's still a beta. Right now, full self-driving beta is available to a wider range of people. So you look at these 3 groups, autopilot, more than 3 million Teslas on the road. So about more than 3 million people have autopilot. Full self-driving, about 15% of all Teslas bought full self-driving. So about 450,000 cars with full self-driving. Then full self-driving beta would be 160,000 people using it. Okay, I've got to experience all 3. For full self-driving, it would really not just navigate. Autopilot's only for highways, freeways, mostly.
Yep.
Very well-marked lane. Full self-driving works in more city streets. And I got a chance to experience that in April. So the car's largely able to navigate, but you need constant human supervision.
Yeah.
Then I got to try full self-driving beta 2 times.
Yeah.
On April and October. When I tried it in April, both times were I tried full self-driving beta both times in Los Angeles, Santa Monica exactly. It's supposed to do point-to-point driving.
Yeah.
So the way I experienced it was, I felt full self-driving beta in April this year was like a 3-month-old driver. So someone got a license driving the streets for 3 months. And this most recent trip in October, it felt more like a driver around 9 months of driving experience.
Yeah.
That means full self-driving beta, like it's able to confidently, in a very human-like way, navigate obstacles in the road. So let's say there's a car parked in your street in a single lane. It knows how to go to the other lane and then divert back to the other lane. It can make right turns, unprotected left turns pretty well right now. But because it's like a new driver, it cannot handle all situations yet. Example, full self-driving beta, it can't do U-turns consistently. It's harder for it to navigate through busy car parks. So if you want to enter a busy car park and exit a busy car park, it still needs human intervention. If you want full self-driving beta to go into a gated community, you know, like you go to the gate, you got to wait for the guard or someone to open the door for you. It doesn't know how to handle that situation yet. You may just like disengage and say, okay, I'm stuck, or we reach destination.
I do it myself.
Take over. So when the gate opens, you have to re-engage full self-driving beta to go.
Yeah. When you say experience, are you really driving it or someone?
I'm the passenger.
You're the passenger, but have you tried drive the cars with such capability?
No. And you're not really driving it when you're activating it.
Yeah.
You're monitoring it.
You are supervising the cars, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you haven't tried that? Okay.
For full self-driving beta, I would strongly recommend that you are with the owner in their car if you visit the US. I wouldn't recommend you being in the car alone with full self-driving beta, just because the owners will recognize where it works, where it doesn't. Because for someone who is very new to full self-driving beta, it feels deceptively confident, like it's so good you may lose attention in the streets. Whereas for the owners, they've been through enough experience to know that it's not perfect. You still need to monitor. So for safety, always go through full self-driving beta with the owner in the car. You can always ride as a passenger. It's not very different being in the passenger and driver's seat.
I think that's true, right? Because I look at the videos, it's like I saw that the owners who have all these full self beta, they know where the situation that they have to engage, right? They are experienced basically. So this type of like skill as a driver and skill as a supervisor of FSD is very different. So I think for those drivers, they really know how to navigate it, but not so much for those who are new to this kind of things, right?
Yes, safety is very, very important. Again, this is beta software. It's not guaranteed to work all the time.
Do you have any plan to really try it out? Like are you looking forward to try the FSD beta anywhere, right?
I think the next time we go to the US, almost all of us will have a chance to try it, because right now, there are already 160,000 Teslas of FSD beta. 2/3 of the FSD owners are in North America, so about 300,000. After 10 more weeks, it is very easy, very likely for Tesla to roll out full self-driving beta to all FSD owners. That means in the future, when we go to the US, we rent the Tesla with FSD on Turo, it's going to have full self-driving beta, most likely.
And there's no licensing requirements, right? Because I understand that because now it's beta, so they need to have certain score in order to get the functions, right? And that functions is tagged to the car and not so much to the driver, right?
It's tagged to the car owned by the primary driver.
Okay. And basically the person can lend it to someone else and it is legal, right?
They would probably have to make it that way because Teslas are very popular in US car sharing fleets. And even Hertz has a big Tesla fleet as well. So if they do have FSD in some of the cars, it's going to be rented out to different people.
Okay.
So I think it's going to be quite a transition, and people will need to be really thoughtful about using FSD beta in the beginning. Because can you imagine, it goes out to 300,000 Teslas FSD. Some people will probably pull some tricks and some pranks. I think Tesla will still reserve the right to turn off full self-driving beta if it's being abused. Just like how today, if you use Autopilot, the base feature in all Teslas, if you go above a certain speed limit, it will actually stop autopilot, and it won't allow you to use autopilot for the rest of the drive until you stop your car, park it, and start a new journey. So there are fail-safes to make sure that the technology is being used safely.
Yeah. I think that's good sharing on your experience driving and also experiencing the FSD, right? So I just want to switch gear a little bit to talk about the cars that you recently just test drive it, which is the BYD Atto 3.
Yes.
Did I get the name correct?
Yes.
Yes. So can you like share with us your experience of the cars and what is the main difference as compared to a Tesla cars?
Okay, some context. The BYD Singapore team was very kind to allow me to test drive the BYD Atto 3, which is their new SUV, for 4 days, from Friday to Monday, this last weekend.
Yeah.
The price points are also very different. So before I go into the driving experience, I want to give context on the price point. So it's most comparable to a Tesla Model Y SUV. The cheapest Model Y SUV in Singapore, the rear-wheel drive, is 250,000 Singapore dollars. The BYD Atto 3 is $173,888 or 175. So 75,000 Singapore dollars difference. It's a pretty significant difference. So that's the context.
Yep.
Now, how was it like driving the car? It's a well-built car for that price point. It's a well-built EV. What's unique about BYD, as some of you know, is that they're more vertically integrated. They are one of the largest battery manufacturers in the world. They make their own batteries. And they don't just make normal batteries, but they have their own technology for batteries. People call it the blade battery. So it looks like a razor blade. They're long, they're thin. The benefit there is that it's better density. You can fit in more batteries inside a given space. And it's safer. So they have a puncture test. Like you put a nail and the batteries go over the nail. In most other batteries, it will heat up, combust, and explode. The blade batteries do not. And they stay at a stable temperature of 30 to 60 degrees Celsius. Yeah, that's how much time I spent in the BYD showroom, by the way. So the batteries are already a unique part for BYD. The car interior, that one was very divisive.
Yes.
Inside, it is inspired by the human body and music. So a lot of people, they find it a bit too much. I'll put it that way. Driving-wise, it does not have the same regeneration like a Tesla.
Yep.
You got a chance to experience a Tesla before, 1 year ago actually.
Yeah.
Yes, with our friend. You know that when you release the accelerator on a Tesla, the car comes to a stop.
Yes.
For the BYD, it's more like driving a normal ICE car. They do have regen, but the regen doesn't stop the car. I miss that because in city driving, start-stop traffic, it's more relaxing with single pedal. Again, this you can call it a first world problem. If you're used to driving a Tesla, it's very hard to go back to other cars.
Yeah. I think that's one way they actually make the customer used to the products, right, and make it harder to switch out, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is one form of mode also for Tesla. But come back to BYD, just want to know, like, because in terms of functionality, especially the software part, right?
Yeah.
They have autopilots, right?
They've got their own cruise control.
Yeah.
But it's not as confident as Autopilot. So if you try the cruise control of other brands like a BYD or other cars compared to Autopilot, the difference is, for the other brands, it's more like a suggestion, like you can really take over and navigate it. Whereas for Autopilot, it's very assertive. Like your car is almost like on a train track. You can turn it off, but when it drives by itself, it's like you're on a train.
Okay.
It follows the road in a very confident and smooth way now. But Autopilot's also been around for a long time. It's more than 10 years already. 3 million Teslas on the road. So they had a lot of time to refine it. Whereas like full self-driving was like Autopilot 10 years ago.
Yes.
So they have the technology. And for BYD, they've got their own operating system for their own touchscreen as well. So most cars like BYD, they're also going like Tesla, like a bigger touchscreen, but they still have a lot more buttons in the car.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Yeah. Which is different.
Yeah.
Very few car brands have a lot less buttons like a Tesla. However, BYD owners have been asking for Android CarPlay and Android Auto, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto support. So that will come to that car by end of this year. So that's also the biggest difference between the BYD and the Tesla. Tesla's like, nope, you're not getting Apple CarPlay, you're not getting Android Auto. You're not even getting Apple Music. So you see, Tesla wants full control of the hardware and software.
Yes.
BYD is not there.
Yeah.
It's almost like a Samsung and Android.
Yep. Yeah, just want to know, for example, like they have cruise control.
Yeah.
Are they actually developing any forms of full self-driving, something similar to what Tesla is doing? Are they such efforts there?
The short answer is yes. However, I need to learn a lot more about it because many of the Chinese car companies, they have autonomous driving ventures or pilots in many Chinese cities, Shenzhen or Shanghai. I plan to go there next year to experience them firsthand so that I can really give a lot more nuance to the discussion versus what we see in headlines today. We know there's a lot of truth to it, just like how autopilot, full self-driving is not perfect. But the one thing I'll add is while a lot of these Chinese car companies are developing like autonomous driving, you may even see news of like level 4 driving or services in China.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll call out is what is the paid user base? Tesla has 450,000 full self-driving buyers. They've already paid for the product. You bought it a decade ago, it was $3,000. You bought it last year, it was $12,000. You buy it now, it's $15,000. Like, the user base is huge. And autopilot, basically, almost every Tesla owner is using it.
Yeah.
Whereas for other software and services, the user base, we don't have solid numbers yet. So I'm very curious to see how that plays out.
Yeah. So just now we briefly talked about this Android and Apple CarPlay, right? So just curious to know, like, how do you see them moving forward? Do you see that Apple and Android, they will move into autonomous driving and become the UI of the cars? Is that where they are heading, or where do you see their future in terms of integration with the cars?
We know that Apple has been upgrading Apple CarPlay to integrate more deeply into all the car's core systems. So like showing the speedometer, the engine or the EV battery life remaining. You'll be part of the dashboard display. It's not just a front end for entertainment anymore.
Yes.
It's not just for maps.
Yep.
So you think about it, it's a logical step towards becoming a car.
Yeah.
They may not succeed in building the entire car, but could they be the software platform for cars? Like what they are for, like what Android is for phones?
Yep.
Potentially. Yeah.
So you think they will go there?
They're going towards that direction.
Okay.
How they succeed, like what's their dream and what's the reality of the market execution could be very different.
Yep.
Because as we all know, for a company like Apple, they don't manufacture in-house. They outsource.
Yes.
But if you're doing car manufacturing, companies like BYD and Tesla are showing you want the benefits of responsiveness, a strong moat as you call it, because it's not the car itself, it's how you make the car that matters more.
Yep.
For both Tesla and BYD.
Yes.
Apple will need to think very hard about that if they're very serious about being a full car business.
Yeah. So come back to this talking about BYD and talking about Tesla. Like what do you think what sets companies different from the others? Say for example, all these names, right? How do they differentiate themselves basically?
The first very obvious one would be the owner. Both are founder-led companies, but Elon Musk, everyone knows. You ask 10 people on the street, who is BYD's founder?
Yeah,
You
I also don't know.
I can't give an answer now as well. But it's still a founder-led company. So the founder is already clearly different.
Yeah.
BYD is, from what I see, they're executing well. They've got good government support in China. They're coming from they are in the world's largest car market. They get good government support. They're vertically integrated like Tesla. So I see similarities in both their goals on vertically integration.
Yeah.
Where it's different is Tesla seems to be more bold in its choices. That they're more extreme in vertical integration. They're more extreme in owning the software stack. They're more extreme in international expansion. BYD has been expanding a lot recently. They've just expanded this year to Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia very soon, Japan next year, India soon as well. So BYD, like many of these Chinese car companies, are now starting to expand globally.
Yeah. So having tested the cars, right, you have better appreciations of what's the product, the culture, or what they are doing, right? So is there any culture that you think sets them like differently compared to other Chinese automakers?
My information is very skewed because I've got a chance to meet dozens of Tesla employees across the world.
Yeah.
I haven't got a chance to speak with BYD employees directly yet, especially those in the production line. So I can talk a lot more about Tesla's culture, which is a company that's very mission driven.
Yeah.
It's almost like a lifestyle for most of their employees. And for a lot of Tesla's sales employees, they're also fine if you don't buy a Tesla. If you buy another EV, it's a win for them. Their leadership has said so themselves as well.
Yeah.
Because the mission matters.
Yeah.
For BYD, what I would love to discover about their culture is how are they really trying to own the software side of the business? Because hardware side, they seem to be doing a good job.
Yep.
The batteries, the production, they are producing one of the most EVs in the world next to Tesla. The way Chinese car companies is they report new energy vehicles, which includes hybrid. So if you want an apple-to-apple comparison, you need to split out new energy vehicles between hybrid and pure EVs. And that's going to give you a best gauge on how it's progressing compared to other large EV manufacturers. So I want to learn more about BYD's culture, what makes them tick. I know for most of the Chinese car companies, there's a lot of pride.
Yeah.
I think the perception for consumers, even in mainland, last time used to be, let's buy foreign-made cars, it's better. Now made in China is growing in stature.
Yeah.
I believe in 10 years' time, made in China will be seen by many people as something premium. Even today, all our iPhones, most of our Teslas in Asia Pacific are made in China.
Yes.
And they're made well.
Yeah. I think that's something that audience will like the contents from you, is because when you approach all these informations, you don't see it like straight away become an expert, right? You really take your time to understand their internal workings, their culture, and then bring out all the good stuff, all the contents to be shared with the audience, right? I think really appreciate the work that you have been doing.
Thanks.
Yeah. So for the closing questions, just want to stay away from these topics. Is that I want to know, like, I'm curious, right? There are many investors that they have some role models for them when it comes to investing, right? So they might be following certain style, they might be following certain philosophy and so on. I haven't heard that from you. You haven't thought about like any like investor that you really respect a lot, right? So I just want to know who is your role model when it comes to investing?
For me, it would be Dave Lee. The reason why he's my role model is because very few investors would recommend a strategy that's of concentration. Although Warren Buffett would say diversification means diverse, right? Or it's not so good. And for someone like Dave Lee, he's been investing in the stock for 10 years on Tesla right now. He first invested after experiencing the product himself, after experiencing a Model S. And that's shaped my point of view on investing, that I should get to know the products and services, the users, the employees, to understand the fundamental truth about the products before investing in it, and not just looking at the financial statement, reports, or charts. So that influenced me a lot. And Dave Lee has been very calm and steady. He's seen both the highs and also the turbulent times. There were 6 years in Tesla between 2013 to 2019 where the stock was flat. Can you imagine being an investor where the stock was flat for 6 years, and everyone was saying, oh no, S&P is up by average of 10% per year. What are you doing investing in this TSLA company? Time to move on.
Yes.
And yet, he just dig a lot deeper into the business fundamentals. So I think he's a great role model of long-term investing, where it's fundamentals versus price focused. And it doesn't always pay out, but that's what being a long-term investor is. And I'm inspired by that.
Good sharing there. I think we all should learn from Dave Lee and also from Daren's. Want to know the details of the companies. It's not just about the financial, you need to know the products, right? And the products will actually lead the other stuff. The financial will come later. Thank you so much, Daren, for sharing with us all the good stuff. So hope that we can do this more often in the future.
Yes, thank you, Boon.
Thank you so much.
Remember to subscribe to Boon's channel,
and also Daren's channel.
Take care, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.